Hey, if you're a low handicapper and you've been struggling to get to scratch, well, this might be the video for you. So, about 3 years ago, I posted this video somewhere over here. 5 reasons why I'm not a scratch golfer. And just for kind of larger context, I've been between a, say, 3 handicap and a 0 handicap for like 20 years, 20 years. And I finally got to scratch. So I'm gonna let you in on the secrets of what finally got me over the line. And it's not playing 200 rounds or anything like that. I played the same amount of rounds this year. So stay tuned and hopefully you'll get some out of this video. All right, before we get into the 5 reasons, let's talk about, I guess, a very important meta reason. So this might sound familiar to you. You start the year, you're all ready to go golf, and you're excited. You set your goals for the year. So you go, I'm gonna win a club championship. I'm gonna get to this handicap level. I'm going to, finish top 10 in these tournaments, whatever it is, right? I'm gonna get to certain club head speed, all that kind of stuff. So those are goals, and that's what I did every year. I'd always have my kind of a few things that I wanted to accomplish. This year, I posted this on Instagram, but I was like, I'm not gonna have any goals this year. I'm just gonna really start looking at my game and find where my process is broken and find little places where I can improve and kind of get to that next level because I was really close to getting to scratch. It was really annoying because I was bumping up against it for a long time. So that's the first thing, like just changing the mindset from a goals focus a little bit more to a process focus. So that helped a lot. And the second thing, I'm going to introduce this framework. This really helped me put things into perspective of where I needed to work on things. So I introduced this sort of technical, creative framework. And that's one thing I think this is a reason why a lot of people really love golf because it's like the perfect yin and yang between super technical, but also super creative. And you can have players that go on either side of that spectrum. Like you have a Bryson on technical or, a Bubba Watson on the creative side. But every individual has to kind of find where they land on this spectrum for each of the things they're working on, right? So as I go through the 5 things in this list, I'm gonna kind of talk about how I think about them within this framework and where I move certain things. And I think it'll give you a little bit of perspective of how to look at your own game because you might be getting too technical. I feel a lot of people do get too technical, especially low handicappers. You already are pretty damn good at golf. So maybe start looking at the creative side a little bit more. And that's what I did, and it helped a lot. And the creative is a little bit of a bucket, but it's all your mental game, all your, other things you do that aren't positions and all that kind of stuff. So, okay, let's talk about reason number 1. And for all these reasons, I'll kind of do a before after of what I used to do and what I do now. So the first reason is equipment. I put equipment under, my framework for equipment is tools. So they all have to do a certain thing. My before, I would just, to be honest, I would just go on Facebook Marketplace and, oh, these are a cool set of irons. Let's buy these. Oh, I want to try this. Let's just buy this club. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually really fun. So I actually still do that. But what I did do differently this year is I kind of took a look at the clubs that I had and what I could do to actually improve them. So starting with the irons, I played these Titleist 716 CBs. Instead of buying a new set of irons or just kind of getting finicky with them, I re-gripped them. I did a full loft and lie check actually, which was surprising how off they were on certain clubs. So got those all dialed. So now my distance gaps are a lot better. And the last thing I did is I flattened the lie a little bit. Kind of always played upright irons. Always play a half-inch over and upright, but I flattened them a little bit just to take away the left miss, and that'll be a little bit of a theme. Everything is anti-left for me. I really hate seeing the ball go left. So just kind of tuning the irons I had. That's all I had to do, and that was really awesome. Off the tee, traditionally I was kind of at the long side of my bag was a driver, strong 3-wood, hybrid or 2-iron, and 2-iron was kind of been in the bag for the last few years. Just looking at where my strengths and weaknesses were, there are a few holes on my home course where I don't hit driver. I kind of need that 230 club or that 250 club. Those are really important. But the ones that I had weren't really doing the job. So I replaced the 2-iron, which I loved hitting and I still love hitting. It's one of my favorites. I replaced it with one of these, just a Sim 2 7-wood. Much better. I just hit these so much better than hybrids. I think something, it's a bigger face, extra spin from the loft and how high it goes, just goes so much straighter, a lot more forgiving. So that's helped a lot. I have so much confidence in that. So having a 230 club that I have confidence in, I don't have to kind of have those uncomfortable feelings before I hit it. So that's been awesome. And then I picked up another one of these off of Facebook, Original One mini driver. So same loft as my Strong 3, 13.5. I dial it down a tiny bit just to open the face for the anti-lefts, but I did put my just my original 3-wood shaft into it. My 3-wood was a TaylorMade, so really good. This extra depth, extra face depth, a little bit of extra width as well. It's mostly a T club for me, but it's fine hitting it off the deck. Again, so much more forgiving. So if you have tools in your bag, especially at the long end where forgiveness matters, you can look if there's some gains to be had by just finding something that does the same thing, but gives you more forgiveness. Like, why wouldn't you want that? So those two are huge. The irons were great. And the last thing is the putter. I was with a Spider for a really long time, loved it, but I did put a lab in, like a lot of people are doing nowadays. I really, really like it. I mean, distance control wise, I don't think it's any better than the Spider, but the let's call it the 8-10 foot Nin, it's been awesome. So that's been a game changer. And we'll talk now a little bit more about my putting and how I changed my approach. So that's it for equipment. So that was number 1. All right, number 2 on the list. Just talked about the lab putter. Putting was a big one this year, and it was mostly my approach. So I read this book over here by Dave Stockton. It really emphasizes creativity in putting, visualization, and just sort of feeling the putts, and just getting the right speed, and whatever happens, and making it a lot more natural and not getting tied up into too many technical thoughts. So before, I would always have this anxiety, like if I don't putt well on the putting green before a round, or if I miss an early short putt 5-footer, and let me know if this in the comments if this sounds familiar. But I'd be in a spiral. It'd be like, oh no, now my putting's not working today, so now I'm watching, like, am I taking my putter back exactly perfect? And it just, A, it wasn't fun. B, I kind of lost my any touch for speed, or creativity, or being able to visualize the line and react to it. So I've gone way more to the creative side with my putting. Definitely still fundamentals like grip, ball position. I try to keep it relatively the same, but in the Unconscious Putting book, if it changes day to day, or sometimes you open your stance, sometimes he says that's fine. Like you're just gonna feel a little bit differently. I'm sure when you throw a ball, you're not exactly perfectly standing and shifting your weight exactly the same. So be more target focused, be more creative. Has helped a ton this year, and I highly recommend this book. And I think this kind of bleeds over to other parts of your game as well, and I'll talk about that a bit more. But putting feels way better, way more fun. So that's been great. And number 3 is lessons. So I've been playing 30 years and I've never taken a lesson. And this was a tough decision for me to do this, because I really wanted to get to scratch, just figuring it out by myself. But I swallowed my pride this year. I went and I took a 3-lesson pack in February, I believe, really early in the year. And found a great coach. We were on the same page where, I told him I play about once a week, maybe can practice once or twice a week for like 45 minutes each. So there's no rebuild. I'm not rebuilding. I'm also getting old. I'm not going to be doing any weird, deep, shallow moves or anything like that. So kind of more focused towards what I'm trying to do. A little bit more consistency off the driver and some of my longer irons, and mostly removing that left side of the golf course as much as possible. So got a few great tips that help me use my lower body a bit more, help use my body generally a bit more. I think as I'm getting older, it's getting harder to move my body, a lot more arms and hands. I do have decent timing, so I can usually kind of make it work, but trying to remove that from the equation as much as possible is key. And I've been able to, for the most part, do that. I still have days where it creeps back, but I'm putting lessons kind of in the middle here, and it might surprise people. What the goal for me with lessons were to get out of the technical side as quickly as possible and just be able to play. I used to go down all these weird rabbit holes with YouTube. I had a bad round. Oh, let's go find a tip. Or I think everyone does this. They try to these patchwork things. They don't work. They get you really, really, really stuck in the technical side of things, which makes it super hard to score. I can almost track my handicaps through the years. Like every time, oh, I went on a YouTube. Oh no, I went on another YouTube rabbit hole. Like I can track my handicap go up as I go through these things. So what the lessons did, got my foundation. I'm not searching anymore, and I'm getting creative really fast right away. So I come to the course and I'm trying to score right away. So glad I did it. It's probably the best thing it's done is removed the need to go watch YouTube videos, to be honest. All right, getting to the end here, number 4 and number 5. So I'm not gonna, number 4 is practice. I'm not gonna, go through my entire thing that I do with practice now, but just a little bit on the before. I mean, the driving range for me was more of an escape than a working on my game thing, to be honest. I'd go, put in a podcast, hit some balls, get my feels. None of it really transferred to the course, that much, to be honest. When I get to the course, I just have to figure out how I felt that day. And that's still the case. But I'll show you a couple of videos of what I'm doing now. So I'm using this guy right here, and I'm trying to hit 50 yarders and just feel distances. See how we do. Now you gotta stay with that one. 52. I think that's 68. Oh shit. 68. There you go. So it kind of connects your brain and your body. And it works really well for those in between shots. I bought one of these little launch monitors, the PRGR. They're pretty cheap, like $300. I'm using that a lot more to build up my feel for certain distances. So if I'm struggling from 30 to 80 yards, I will really use that to hit 40s and 50s and 60s and 45s and kind of really kind of connect my brain to what my body's doing to build up that reference. So when I'm on the course, it makes it a lot easier. So I'm doing that a lot. And then I'm also doing the opposite, where I'm hitting shots and then calling out the distance after, guessing it before looking, and seeing how well I can connect my body to what I just felt on the club face. And then the other thing I do is, if I have trouble shots on my course, so like a tee shot or something like that, or maybe an approach, I will set up the conditions and parameters on the course and hit it over and over. Obviously, you can't really quite get the lies perfectly if it's an approach shot, but it really does help building up a reference of, okay, I've just hit the shot this many times and I pulled it off so many times that when you get on the course in those situations, it's just so much easier, like honestly. So bounds, one tee shot that doesn't go out of bounds, that's 2 shots right there. So that's really helped. Just taking my practice a little bit more seriously, getting more into the creative side of my practice, and a lot more working with my launch monitor to just ingrain those yardages. All right, number 5, and I think the most important is my on-course process changes. And I've also added a post-round review process, which I'll talk about. I'm kind of just lumping it all together here. I think this was the most important for me. I think most people watch this video and they'll look at the lessons. They're like, well, you took lessons for the first time after 30 years. Obviously, that's what did it, and it was a part of it for sure. But I took those lessons in February, and I didn't really hit scratch until September. So, or yeah, September. So it took a lot. It took a lot of other things in this list to make that happen. Um, so my playing process, I would say my pre-shot and kind of post-shot routines were very quick and haphazard. Before I would kind of go, generally aim, have a sense of where I don't want to go, and then hit the shot. Which, I mean, it's fine. Like I got to a pretty low handicap just doing that. But to get to this next level for me, I really had to, kind of bear down on some of these micro improvements. So what I did now, I'm a lot more diligent in my planning box. I think most people know this, but there's the concept of the planning box and execution box. You can go look that up. I'm not going to explain it. There's a lot of YouTube videos that talk about that. But I'm a lot more diligent in my planning box of picking a specific target based on my own dispersion, and then committing to it and aiming properly when I go to execute. So that's helped a ton. It's also given me, when I go swing, I'm so target focused now that doesn't allow demons to come into my head on tough shots. I'm only focused on the target. That's it. That's maybe the biggest thing you can possibly take from this video, is having a specific target and don't let anything else get in your head. Huge. So when I'm going to hit, I have my plan. I take a lot of time to aim specifically at that target from that plan. I only have that in my head during the execution phase, and I'm fully committed to it, right? Which is awesome. And like if it doesn't work out, that's fine, and that's why there's this post round review we'll talk about. And then after, and maybe as important as all the other steps, is the acceptance of the shot. Accept and move on, and then just repeat the cycle again. Everyone's had times when they've gone on tilt. I've gone on tilt many times and just done stupid things and thrown strokes away. And I think playing more tournaments the last few years, I've gotten a lot better at that. But it's something you have to kind of figure out for yourself. But having the acceptance is really, really important. So that's kind of the encore stuff. Okay, finally, the last thing, the post-round review. So right after the round, I used to do nothing. Now I'm reviewing my rounds, and I'm not doing this on the 18th green or anything like that, but it could be just right before I go to bed that night. I'll mentally go through each shot, look at how well I planned the shot, look at how well I committed to the shot. Like, did I really trust my plan, or did I sort of just go, okay, whatever, let's go hit it? And how well, I mean, the execution side, I'm not as worried about, to be honest. If I have a lot of execution errors that I see through the round, it just might become a bucket of things I end up working on next time I'm practicing. But I'm more worried about the mental process, really, and then how well did I accept? Like, did I accept a bad shot, or did I go on a 3-hole bender and blow my round up? Which I've done. Like, I'm sure everyone has, right? Like, everyone's done that, which is awesome. It's super fun. So again, the goal is, I don't have a caddy. The goal is to become your own caddy, essentially. And next time, I'm so surprised how well I'm able to recall now when I go on a course again, and I remember last time I did this, and I just take that extra club, or instead of going for the hero shot, I lay up, because I had those reviews in. It just, I don't know, somehow digs into your long-term memory. I don't know how it happens, but it does. It's very valuable. All right, so that's it for this video. I hope this will help other people. I mean, it's kind of cathartic for me to get through. Like, this is the things I finally got me there, and it feels great to finally get to scratch and a little bit beyond. But if you can get good at, I mean, just the 4 and 5, you're gonna go a long way. I think the putting stuff is a little more personal. I wanted to free myself up from technical stuff putting, because it wasn't fun anymore. And the equipment, again, that's personal. I just did things that helped me get rid of my shots. I think of equipment as tools. So I hope this helped you. you know, in the beginning, I kind of talked about in 2022, 2023, I'd always say my goals are to win the club championship and get a hole in one, all that kind of stuff. Well, you know, I didn't have any of those goals, and I actually did win the club championship. I did get a hole in one, and I did get to a plus handicap this year. So it worked for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for everyone, but hopefully that gives you a bit of motivation to start looking at this kind of stuff when you're looking at your own game. Comment if you have questions. I will try to reply, and I hope this really helps other people out. So cool. Take care. Thanks for watching.